guys are far too kind. I tell you, I got the best audience, the best.
All right, guys, we're going to get right into it. So, fettuccine pasta. I use Barilla if I'm not making the fettuccine noodles myself. Triple wash baby spinach. 1620 shrimp, peel, devein, tail off. Fresh thyme, fresh sage, and fresh rosemary. Scallions. 2 cups of heavy cream. Parmigiano Reggiano, 7 ounces. Garlic, fresh garlic. Extra virgin olive oil. White distilled vinegar. Cherry tomatoes. Unsalted butter. And kosher salt. And a fresh lemon. One of the first things you're going to want to do is a little olive oil. About a tablespoon. And you want a little salt. About a tablespoon. You want to flavor your water. You want your pasta to taste like something. All right, guys, so you want to go ahead and start cooking your noodles. Get your fettuccine in. Let it spread out. Now, when you get your fettuccine noodles in, you want to spin them around, hone it. Okay, so you just put the rest of the garlic to the side, and the way you get this out of this shell, very easy. Take the flat side of your knife, put it on the clove, and just smash down on it. That'll take that hole right off. And you're gonna do that for each and every last one of those cloves. Once that's done, then we'll start to mince them. That should be good for the garlic shrimp. We blotted it with a little paper towel so it can not be super dry, but just take all that excess wetness off. Put the shrimp in there. We'll hit it with a little olive oil, like a tablespoon and a half of olive oil. About a tablespoon of salt. And we'll take half the garlic. This is about 2 bulbs of minced garlic. And we'll just put that right in there. And then we'll just get everything mixed in. I can smell that freshness. All right, now we'll add, because all of this is gonna go in the saucepan, we'll add like 4 leaves of sage. Remember, sage is very powerful, so you don't wanna overpower your dish. And we'll add like a half a sprig of fresh rosemary. And again, you can be generous with the thyme, and it lends itself very well to seafood. And we'll do about 6 sprigs of thyme. Okay, we'll just mix that together. And we're gonna set this to the side and just let it kind of soak up those herbs, that garlic and the salt and that olive oil. Next, we'll do the Parmigiano Reggiano, and I got my hand grater here. It's about 7 ounces, and you just hit it. I put that napkin underneath, so once I'm done, I don't have to look for all of my product. I can just kind of contain it right there on the napkin and pour it into a vessel, or just leave it in the napkin until I'm ready to actually use it. All right, guys, so we take our noodles out. They've been cooking for about 9 minutes. Now you want to run cold water on them after this to stop the cooking process. And then you will hit them with olive oil. Okay, so we're gonna get our Alfredo sauce started. I use 1 stick of butter, which is 4 ounces. Okay, cut that up into even pieces because I want it to melt even. I'll put the heat on high and just let that melt. Okay, now that the butter is almost melted all the way, pretty much there, let's just add this garlic. And once you add that garlic, you'll immediately start to smell the aroma of awesomeness. Get that in. We don't want to cook it too long. We still want our sauce to be a nice white sauce, so we want this butter to stay blonde. We don't want to make it brown butter. We want it to stay nice and brown. You're gonna see it fizzle up, and you're gonna see the foam So you're gonna cook that for about 30 seconds. You're gonna add your 2 cups of heavy cream. 2 cups of heavy cream. Get all of it in there. Once that's in, you're gonna let this come to a boil. This is a very critical part because you don't want this to separate. So once this comes to a boil and it starts to foam up, like it's gonna come out of the pan, you turn it off. Okay, so this is the critical point I was telling you about. It's starting to foam and bubble. So you're gonna let it rise. Very critical point because you don't want this sauce to break, because if it breaks, it's broke. So now it's rising, it's rising, it's rising, it's rising. Now you want to turn the heat off. Turn the heat off and you start incorporating your 7 ounces of Parmigiano Reggiano. Get it all in there. Don't be scared. And you just whisk it in. Once that's all incorporated, then you're gonna hit it with about a tablespoon of salt. You wanna strain it. So you know those little bits and pieces of garlic? We wanna strain that out and catch anything that didn't dissolve, any cheese that didn't dissolve. So I get my chinois, get another pot underneath, and I just pour all of that right into that chinois. That chinois is very tight knit wire mesh. Okay. Nice, silky, beautiful sauce ready to go. Now the way you can check the consistency of your Alfredo sauce to make sure you did it absolutely right, you get a spoon, you dip it in, and you look at the back. And you put a stroke down the back. That is considered the exact consistency that you want because it doesn't move. It's called nappe. Okay? So now we want to prepare the shrimp. And I got 2 sticks of butter cut up evenly. Okay, once all your butter is melted, now we're going to put the shrimp in. The herbs and the garlic. Now, crucial part again, you want to get all your shrimp in, and the exact second that they start to turn pink on both sides, you're gonna get them out of there. Okay? So you can reduce your heat to about halfway. And they're gonna start turning pink rapidly because the butter is already hot, and it doesn't take shrimp a long time to cook. So we'll hit them with a little more salt. And just like I said, the salt is up to you. It's your discretion on the salt. You don't even have to have salt if you don't want to. It's totally up to you. The smell coming from this though, amazing. They'll start to turn pink. Let them cook. They'll cook for about, say, 1.5 minutes on each side. And then once you start to turn them over, you'll see the pink rising up the back side and the spine of each one of them. Just let them cook. So it's been about 1.5 minutes, maybe another 30 seconds to go. And we'll just start turning them over. Just turn them over, turn each one of them over. It's a labor of love. These are going to be so good. You're never going to want to cook shrimp any other kind of way after this. You're going to be kind of spoiled on this, especially with those herbs in there. Butter poached shrimp. I love it. Herb butter poached shrimp. So we'll let them cook on this side for another 1.5, 2 minutes. So your total cook time on these should be right around 4.5 minutes. You don't want to cook them too long because your shrimp will get rubbery. And you're going to put them back in Alfredo sauce. So that's good. You want to turn off the heat. Okay. To ensure that they don't overcook, I'm going to get another vessel and just pour them into that vessel. And you just spread them out. That way the heat can disperse. Okay, to get a nice garnish going with your scallions, you want to make a deep diagonal cut, which is called cutting on a bias. So you're going to cut really deep on the bias. And you'll discard anything that you don't want. And you'll see how that is like a nice diamond cut. It's gonna look really good on your plate. Now your tomatoes, you wanna cut them lengthwise. Cut each one of them lengthwise. Have another vessel that you can just pop them into. Now once your tomatoes all cut lengthwise, then you're gonna get a tablespoon of the white distilled vinegar. And you're just gonna pour that over, maybe 2 tablespoons. Actually. Pour that over and just let them sit in that. This is gonna marinate and give them, enhance the flavor of the tomatoes. It's gonna jack it up a notch. So, just like I said, you want every component to be flavored. Okay, so now we'll finish up. We'll put the Alfredo together. So I got a nice hot flame underneath this pot, high flame. And we'll just get all of this Alfredo in. Get all that Alfredo sauce in there. Good to use a wood spoon when you're working with any sauce, so you won't have a metal reaction. I'm gonna let that Alfredo sauce heat up a little. Once it starts to heat, then you can add your fettuccine noodles. What's gonna do is tighten up. That sauce is gonna tighten up around these noodles. Just get those going. What's gonna do is tighten up. That sauce is gonna tighten up around these noodles. Just get those going. All that good. Spinach, your spinaca. Those spinach, they wilt really fast. So at this point, you pretty much got everything done. You're just assembling. I'm just putting the finishing touches on, and use half of them for the end. Add half of those tomatoes in. A little squeeze of fresh lemon juice, wake up the flavor and everything. Say about a teaspoon. Wakes up the flavor. I'm telling you. So now at this point, you just add your shrimp in. Not the herbs, just the shrimp. Get those shrimp in there, just gonna get them, just to heat them in that sauce. You turn off the heat at this point.